Welcome back to Real Community Talks, where we meet with micro-level influencers doing macro-level things. I'm your host, Matt DeSilva, and on today's episode, we have my guy, the man who connects and builds up creatives everywhere, who daily demonstrates the greatness that comes out of Malton, Oshane Howards, on the show today. Oshane, it's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, bro.
Thank you for having me, brother.
For those two waste people, those waste man who don't know who you are, Oshane is a professional freelancer, a commercial fashion photographer, videographer, and creative director, a creative marketer for Get Fresh Company, was a media and communications coordinator for Meal Exchange, was a social media marketer for Titus Clothing, and a social media coordinator for New Hypes, has worked with renowned names such as New York Times bestseller Rupi Kaur, Dan Cantor, performance coach, multi-platinum selling songwriter, musical director, and former lead guitarist for Justin Bieber. Simon Marcus, two-time middleweight world champion, 8-time kickboxing and Muay Thai world champion. Jeez. He has also done work for some big clients such as CBC, Red Bull, the Dufferin Peel Catholic School Board, among many other major clients. And among many other things, he is passionate and has a deep love for deep shadows, manipulating light, storytelling, elevating business brands and individuals, is a man of wisdom and has an elite work ethic, and someone who processes life more deeply than the regular average person. He just processes life more than surface level. Did I miss anything?
Nah, that was a beautiful intro.
So before we get into it, we were talking a bit about this yesterday on the phone. Why do you prefer using the word freelancer as opposed to entrepreneur?
I feel like entrepreneurs build businesses.
Yeah.
What I mean by businesses, I mean like corporations that hire employees.
Yeah.
I feel like freelancers are more so people that look for those entrepreneurs that need to hire freelancers for like certain projects.
Yeah. So it's like it's become a sexy term that people just want to use when they think they're making money outside of the 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Right? It's true. It's true. And I think you were kind of talking about that yesterday. Like, I think it's more than just the title or like the requirement, but you were saying something about that.
Yeah, I was listening to this podcast.
Yeah.
Dre All Day.
Yeah.
So basically he was just saying like, yo, there's people that have requirements and there's people that have skills. So like requirements is just like you gotta show up to work on time. You gotta be on point with like having projects, doing their deadlines and whatnot. Those are requirements. But like in terms of having a skill set involves like photography or video. There's something that people actually pay their money for. People's not going to spend their money on you to show up to work on time, right?
True.
So that's a requirement. It's not a skill.
Yeah, it's true. And it forces you to actually be succinct about what you are. And it's like not just, I provide an assembly line type thing, but like this is who you're paying for and what you're paying for. Right?
Exactly.
So for those, because this guy, he's dominating in his work and everything, but he's a very he doesn't always post stuff about himself specifically. So what is your origin story? So who is Oshane and where are you from?
Oshane Howards is a very confident man. I'm from Malton. I know some people like to say they're from Mississauga. They're actually from Malton. I'll never classify Malton Mississauga. It's not Milton, it's Malton.
Or Halton.
Yeah, or Halton.
Holy.
But yeah, I'm from Malton, a small town in the middle of basically Brampton, Vaughan, Toronto. It's where I grew up from like grade 3 to like now. Shaped me to who I am today, and yeah.
Awesome. So you were talking about we were talking about this before, how like you didn't go to school all of like when you were in Malton, you kind of went to school only when you went to high school in Malton, right? So why was that?
So like when I first moved to Malton, it was like bad. Well, some people still have that perception that Malton is bad.
Yeah.
However, it's not. But at that time when I did move to Malton, it was pretty bad. Like there's a lot of violence, a lot of crime and whatnot. I also had 2 other cousins at the time that were also living with me.
Yeah.
And they were also a part of that. So Darcel's like really close to my house, right? And like I always heard stories about kids getting beat up, initiated, and all that stuff, right? So me coming from Brampton at the time was soft. Like I was soft back then. So it put me in that environment where I gotta be hard body. I'm just like, I'm not ready for that. I still got my friends back in Brampton and whatnot. So I remember my mom was just like, how I think you're gonna have to go to Darcel. I'm just like, nah, I'm not, that's not happening. So basically she was willing to drive me every single day
Wow.
from grade 3 to grade 8 to Brampton, just so I can stay
Jeez.
with my friends and just so I can like excel in sports, because around that time I was really athletic. And yeah, it's just basically when I graduated from middle school is when I took that extra step to go to a school in Malton. But I was actually trying to get into Aquinas at the time. So I tried to get into Aquinas, but they said I was not in their district. So I'm just like, you know what? I'd rather go to Ascension for the uniform, because I don't want to go to Lincoln, different outfit every single day. I'm just like, I can wear my uniform every single day. And then, yeah.
So you still hoop though?
Nah. Nah.
Like I never like when I first met this guy, I knew of him, but I knew of him like when he hooped with all those other guys. But but no, one thing that I really picked up from that too is like, yo, thank God for parents who sacrifice for us, and like they put sometimes their needs and their wants ahead of us, and like that must have been a sacrifice all the time, just go back and forth, even though she knew there was a school right here where you could go to, right?
Like her and my dad and my grandmother would take turns every single day driving me to Brampton.
That's crazy.
And like I had to keep that at such a young age. I had to keep that like on the low, because realistically speaking, I'm in Malton. Oh yeah, I shouldn't be going to a school in Brampton.
You got to use like the aunt's address in Brampton.
Yeah.
Yo, facts for real. But you know what? I was actually talking to someone about that. I'm like, why is it that schools? I understand for overpopulation and stuff like that, but like, why are kids being robbed of an opportunity to maybe going to a specific type of school just because of their location? Like, for instance, like schools like Mayfield, I'm sure kids who live in that area will probably be accepted because of geographic location, but then it's like the kids that want to get in there, they have to apply and do a portfolio and all that kind of stuff. Or going to like an IB school, it's like for one, I understand that funding is different in schools, but why? Like if you belong to a school board, why shouldn't there be a same standard of care? I'm not saying you can't specialize in a certain thing, but why is it that certain kids are being propped up with so much more experience and opportunities out of high school, and it's so varied like that, right? Yeah. So like, I mean, someone could just be going to, I'm not speaking bad on Lincoln. I came out of Lincoln, I turned out great, but I mean, what if I lived near like, Aquinas or this or that, had an opportunity to go to that school because it was better, right?
Yeah. I had family that went to, I like 4 family members went to Lincoln, and they turned out fine themselves, right? Yeah. So at the end of the day, it's all about preference. True. But I feel like if I didn't grow up in Malton, it wouldn't have shaped me who I am today. True. To grow up in Malton, you can't be soft. Like you can be soft, but like you can't. You gotta be able to stand up for yourself in this town.
But you ever notice when you go other places, it's like you're still that Malton person. Like I mean, I don't want to say like so cynical, but like, yo, you see someone moving a certain way or whatever, like, yo, in certain places in Malta, you don't walk at night or this, that, or like, you don't act a certain way, but it's like, yo, sometimes when I'm like, it's hard to turn that off, right? Yeah. So one of the things that we've always talked about, and something that we kind of bounce ideas off, is this thing about client relations, and something how where if you're not versed or understand that, sometimes it's trial and error. But like even in terms of payments, and I know you had an opportunity to work with a big client, but they were kind of being shady when it came to the payments. So talk about that experience.
That experience was definitely like a good experience all in all. However, if I didn't have a contract for that client, I would have been screwed over, because the budget was big. However, there was some miscommunication after the fact of the shoot happening. This was like a conversation going from like October to like February of emails, and I constantly had to email, no response or anything. Wow. Like, to the point where like I kind of had to get aggressive in the email, obviously in a professional manner, right? I even had to go to contact the agency. Actually got me in contact with that direct client, right? And even that in itself, like there was like a relationship thing going on between them and the client, so they weren't really trying to help me out or whatever. However, if I didn't have contracts or anything signed, I would have been screwed over. So like it's just really important, because I've had numerous amount of clients when I first started where I had no contract due to the fact that I didn't have the knowledge. But now, since I have the knowledge, it's easier to just get yourself out of those type of situations before they even occur, because if there is an altercation, you can always go back to the paperwork and be like, hey, listen, you had the opportunity to read the contract.
Yeah.
This is what was stated. You already signed off.
True.
There's no conversation.
Yeah. And you do digitally sign contracts?
Sometimes I'll bring it in person.
Yeah.
Or sometimes I'll do it digitally.
True.
However, beforehand, I wasn't using contracts at all, man. But like, I also feel like this is a conversation that a lot of creatives, not only in Toronto, but this in general, there isn't enough conversations about business. There's more so conversations about the arts. Like,
Yeah.
I can find more tutorials about Photoshop and Lightroom and all these other programs versus me finding tutorials on how to do business properly within the creative space.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which it doesn't make sense, because it's like, I need to make money from my craft.
Yeah.
Versus like me knowing how to cut or do like a warp stabilizer or whatever it is, whatever program it is, for me to do my art, right?
Yeah,
Because at the end of the day, we all have an overhead cost to pay for, right? So why not teach young artists the foundation on how to grow their business and sustain it?
Yeah.
I had to do multiple research to find the knowledge that I have today.
Yeah.
And also just reaching out to other people that have been doing this for years, that are killing the game, right? So I just feel like there's like a huge gap in the business side of the arts, and there's like so much information for the artistic side of the arts, like the programs and stuff.
Yeah. So you're not just paying for the final product, you're paying for a level of expertise and value. Like, I was talking to someone, one of my mentors this week, and are talking about like even just like pastors and how they pay pastors and book them for conferences, or even just speakers. And he's like, I'm like, do you think it's like biblical to pay a certain speaker higher than another? Are you paying for a caliber of level of speaker? And he was saying, he's like, I do believe there's different calibers of speakers, what people offer and what they don't offer. But I think also it's in terms of like their availability. Like, if they're running a multi-level organization, they can't just up and drop for a weekend conference to go to like a youth conference or whatever. So you're paying for their expertise, you're paying for their experience too. And I'm like, even in a religious sense like that, people like, so I can definitely see with the arts there. But it's funny though, because you expect the friends and the family to just do that to you, but like big commercial places can do that to you too. That's crazy.
Because in business, like, there's levels to this. Yeah. It's just like, at the end of the day, I'm trying to look out the best for my business. Yeah. So if you don't know the knowledge that you're supposed to know for your own interest, for your business, hey man, some people take advantage of that and be like, yo, Matthew doesn't really know so-and-so. So you know what? Let's do this. Yeah. And you're not even noticing it because you don't have the knowledge.
It's true. So where did that switch flip, where you're just like, did you have those moments where you were, like you said, you didn't have contracts, right? But then it's like you gave in, and then you charge people lower than you should have, or like, where did that?
Honestly, yeah. So you're asking like, when did I start charging people lower than I should have?
Yeah, like adding more value to your work, and like, because I think. And I'm not speaking from your experience. I'm just speaking from mine. Sometimes when you start getting a little like, all right, here's my contract. Like, I remember we were having that conversation with that guy who was like, he wanted to do that shoot in Toronto, and I'm like, and you're like, no, you need to charge like the rights to the photos too. So if you want this just a regular photo, you can't. It's gonna be whatever. And then like, as soon as I start doing that, I backed off. It's like, how do you find business but balance also being a professional, man?
Honestly, it's all about. Well, for me at least, I can talk from my perspective. It's just like, for me, I want people, when you talk about Oshane Howard and I'm not there, I want them to be talking about me in a serious tone about my business. True. Maybe as a person, like, he's a cool guy and everything, but like, when it comes to his business, you better come correct.
He knows what he's talking about.
Because then if people don't take you seriously in business, they're not going to go in their bank account to pay you.
Wow, that's true. Yeah. It's true. And if they don't see that you are like well-versed and knowledgeable in that scene, they're just going to think you're just like, oh, this guy who just shoots with a camera. Right.
Yeah. And that's another thing. I feel like that's the community's fault, like the arts, as to why people don't take the art seriously.
So laxed.
It's what's that statement again that people always say, the broke artist, or whatever that line is. Yeah. I feel like the reason why that still lives today is because us as creatives have not showed enough value as to why you should pay us X amount of dollars. Yeah. Right? So like, for example, in my house, or even in your house or anyone's house, right? There's pictures. Like, we're able to see pictures of our parents. We're able to see pictures of our parents. We're able to see pictures from like centuries ago,
True.
right? And why is that? Because obviously there's value in photography. There's value
Capturing
in
moments.
capturing more value in video. When you go downtown or you go ever, what do you see? Photography. When you buy a phone, what's on the box? Photography. When you watch YouTube, what is it? Video, right? But like, bigger businesses obviously see the value, which is why they continue to pay creatives, because we're now heading into a very content creation how would I say, content creation like era right now, right?
Yeah.
It's like booming. Like, we're still in the baby stage, but it's really booming slowly. Versus like, there's people that still don't see the value of paying someone thousands upon thousands of dollars or for video or graphic design or wherever it is, right?
Yeah.
Well, in that case, you're just not my client.
Yeah.
Right. So it's all about you still adding that value to the world as to why they should pay you X amount of dollars. However, just you navigating who's for you and who isn't for you.
Yeah. So is your work the only way that people are able to engage with or like understand Oshane's value? Like, how else do you market yourself to people?
Well, for me, I don't really market myself much on Instagram as I should.
Yeah.
But I just like connecting with people face to face.
True.
I feel like it's more organic. I can see your facial expression.
Yeah.
You can see my facial expression.
Facts.
There's energy there, right?
Yeah.
Versus just sliding in the DMs, or emailing. However, I do email, but I feel like there's multiple different ways to really get clientele. Obviously, social media is being one. Like, that's like the biggest way now to like really interact with people.
Yeah.
However, for me, I feel like in order to interact with people, you always have to be constantly posting your work on the feed, right?
Yeah.
In order for people to actually pay attention to you. And I just feel like as an artist, when you put yourself in that situation, do you want to put yourself in a hole where you're constantly creating like disposable art? Or are you going to be that artist where you take a step back and don't post for months because you're so focused on creating timeless art? Because that puts you in a different league, right?
Yeah.
Like, for me, I think really deep in terms of what's going to make me rememberable 10, 15, 20 years from now.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's going to be the feeling that I give to people when I'm doing business with them,
Yeah.
which is like really good, right? However, I still want my name to be spoken about when I'm dead.
Yeah.
Whether it's through like how I did business or it's through my work. And I feel like there's a lot of pieces that people have in their house because there's something behind that imagery as to why they have it in their living room or their bedroom or whatever the case is.
Yeah.
And I want to tap into that space. 'Cause I feel like we're in a space where, oh, cool, scroll. Oh, cool, scroll. Momentary. Like, no one's really creating anything to actually make you sit down and actually look in depth about what this artist is really trying to get across to you.
One, I think an issue with that too is we're posting within a structure and a framework that limits our creativity. So Instagram, you can only post 60-second videos. Like, I mean, that's why people went on to Vimeo and other places and stuff like that. But then it's like, all right, that big attention is on Instagram. It's free marketing. Like, why? Like, I know that they were trying to do IG video, which I think is a bust. It's a horrible thing in my opinion. Like they're like, people are engaging with content with their phone profile like this. I'm like, yeah, but when I go to a YouTube video, I just turn it over. Like, I don't know how that's so hard to understand. But so we're within those structures of that. But two, it's like sometimes I feel like I have like this, I can definitely understand the timeless versus the disposable, because me and you were talking about personal branding, and back when I think you were doing the doc at ASC, you're like, why aren't you going public? And I'm just like, I don't know, man, and then like I finally did it, and then I realized the level of engagement I had. But then what I found is that it's like, if I don't post frequently, and if I'm fighting against this algorithm, and it's like you just get into this cyclical nature of just wanting to post instead of posting when you're really proud of it. And you know what? There's multiple things like that. Like, do you find your validation in likes, and do you find your validation in what people just say for it? But then there's those pieces where it's like, I did them 4 years ago, but I'll still watch them like later today because like I'm so proud of them, right?
Yeah.
And it elicited a response and an emotional response. Like, I was proud with the music and the way it did and the way it made people feel and how like accurate it was. And then there's those pieces where I'm just like, I just got to stay relevant out here and put it out.
Yeah.
And that's why like people are asking me about my personal YouTube. They're like, oh, how often are you gonna do it now? Like, oh, you're a YouTuber now? I'm like, nah. I'm like, I created a personal YouTube because I wanted to document what I'm doing and how I'm growing right now. But I haven't posted one in like months.
Yeah.
Like for me, I feel like maybe I mean, I know you talked about this in the E project. You're talking about building up a portfolio. I kind of am, in the sense that I'm just putting it out there, but I'm not like worrying about my SEO. I'm not worrying about like tags. I'm not worrying about like, I'm like, here, follow the link and go check it out if you want. I'm not really serious about it right now.
Yeah.
But it's something that I feel like in the future, as much as I have real community talks, I want to brand myself as Matthew De Silva.
Yeah.
Because instead of having 5 business cards, I'm this one person that provides all these services but does all these things, right? And someone actually spoke to me recently. They're like, yo, you need an intro for your show that highlights you. And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of have like a really short opening right now. But he's like, but it's B-roll of other people. He's like, just because you have great people on your show, why aren't you highlighting you as the constant thing that carries the show? And I'm for me, I don't care about the being the focal point, but I'm like, it's true. If this is my brand and if this is my show, like, it's like you go to the Jimmy Kimmel show for Jimmy Kimmel, right?
Yeah.
You don't go for, you know, the Mexican security guard on the side, right?
Yeah.
So I mean, it's true. So yeah, and I'm even with me, I'm like for you, what's your timeless, like, what do you consider timeless art for you then?
Timeless, something that doesn't get dry. Something that you can look back at 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 30 years from now, when I'm old, like when I have grandkids, and I still look at it and it's still relevant, it still has a meaning, still tells a story. Something that will always like give you a certain like emotion when you look at it. It's just like, yo, this is so relevant still, you know?
And does it always have to be a deep story, or just something that you're even proud of, like from a technical perspective?
I think it can be something that you're proud of from a technical perspective, but like for me as an artist, I would want the people viewing it to get something out of it,
not just from the lighting.
Yeah,
and stuff.
not just from like the highlight and all that stuff. Right?
Yeah. I mean, imagery and videos and photography are powerful communication methods, right? And you can like music alone, you hear a song and you get in your feelings and you remember how that made you feel when you first heard that song, right? So if these are powerful forms of communication, then we need to be more diligent in how we carry them out and be more intentional, and not just like just gonna post something because it's clout and hype and all that kind of stuff, right?
Why do you think there's greats like Michael Jackson, Prince, all these guys?
It's true.
They made sure that they created timeless music that we still listen to this day,
even when they're dead. It's being replayed.
Right? That's true. So the same formula can be implemented when it comes to your photography or your video. You just gotta choose what side you want to be on.
Wow,
that's just really what it is. Like,
facts.
Are you doing it for the Instagram feed, or are you doing it for the emotion that you want to give people, the story? Like,
that's powerful.
Choose where you want to be.
Yeah. So obviously I check out your stuff and I follow what you post, and I noticed that you frequently, like this past few months, like from a bit of last year till now, you kept like teasing out like these videos, and then it's like Get Fresh Company, like, and I'm like, what is this guy doing? Like, I feel like there's gonna be like some big release for something. Like, I didn't really know the company enough to know what it was. But I do know that you said that it was a journey to pursue that. So talk a bit about how that came about.
So basically, shout out to Get Fresh, shout out to Fresh and the whole team. But yeah, so I reached out to Fresh like July of 2017. I've been watching their journey from like when they first like opened up the shop to where they're at right now, and I was more so captivated by how the business was started versus like the clothes. Obviously the clothes are dope, but it's the story behind the brand that really gets people, right? And I liked how transparent he was with his story. Because I could relate in certain aspects, and that's what really wanted me to like reach out and whatnot. So I slid in the DM, did my pitch or whatever. And then, but I made sure, by the way, if you're gonna pitch someone, make sure you do your research.
For sure.
So I already knew like where they were coming from and whatnot. Reached out, got the emailed him, But obviously, not obviously. Like when someone's running a business or whatever business you're running, like sometimes people take it as, okay, if I reached out, I didn't get a reply right away. It's just like, no, they're really busy. If you really want something, you got to keep on reaching out constantly. They don't know who you are.
It's true.
They probably get pitched all the time. You know, what makes you different?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. What
So
separates you?
I constantly just reached out, would go to the shop, talk to him, or whatever, reached out again. And then this happened that they're actually looking for someone to be on the team. Was going through like a process for like 3-4 months, like an interview process, just to see where I'm at in terms of what I can bring to the team, if I can shoot certain stuff that they're looking for and whatnot.
So you actually had to go to shoot stuff like for free.
I had to go shoot product.
Wow.
And at that time I wasn't even shooting product like that. So like I was really like doing my YouTubes and everything.
Yeah.
Just basically winging it.
Yeah.
And my boy told me, because I got an email back, and like I didn't know how to take the email. I wasn't sure if I got it or I didn't.
Yeah.
But my boy Ishmael Waterman, shout out to Ishmael. He's just like, unless someone says no, then you still have the opportunity.
Wow.
Right? Because I took it as a no, but there wasn't a no stated. In the email, right? So I'm just like, you know what? Went back at it again. Like I just written up a nice response and everything, and then I got another opportunity to try it again.
Yeah.
And then it was me versus someone else. I don't know who the person was, but I reached out to my homegirl Tara. Shout out to Tara. I'm gonna be shouting out a lot of people.
Yeah. We'll drop them right here if you want to follow them.
But yeah, I reached out to her. Phenomenal stylist in the city. She was willing to help me out. Went to the shop, pulled the clothes and everything. We went out, got the model and everything. Looked for locations. Did like a mini editorial. And then I just waited on a response to see who they were going to pick. And they ended up picking me for the spot. So that was like from 2017 to like now. So like that was like a journey in itself. Like obviously not every single month I was pushing, but I was consistent because I really wanted it, right? Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people, we live in like a time where people want things now. It's just like, dude, you're not going to get it now. Because like people that, these YouTubers that you guys watch, the reason why you're watching them is because they did the things that you aren't doing.
Yeah, and
that's just really what it is.
Their 13-year come up, right?
Exactly. Like you're comparing your now to their success, but like behind closed doors, they were putting in work for years.
Yeah.
And a lot of people aren't willing to put in the work. You just want to like gain all the success now. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, their sacrifice. So I mean, like I rate that because you were still doing your freelancing and doing everything you had else in your life, but you were like, I mean, obviously it's an interview and whatever, but you were freely giving your time, but you were grinding with quite possibly the risk that it might not even work out.
Exactly.
And I actually like the way that they did that with you. Like they're like, if you seriously are going to be on a part of our team, like I think there's a level of character and resiliency that they wanted to see in you. Like my mentor always says, the most important, he was listening off like we were going through this book on like leadership skill sets that you look for people when you're trying to like drop like a drop down list of who you want to select to bring on your team for paid staff, and it was giving like skill set and ability and then character and all this kind of stuff, and he goes, which one is the most important one that you think? And I said character, and he's like, yeah. He's like, the reason why character is the most important thing is because I can deal with someone who has a lack of skill set, but who is humble enough to learn and has a teachable spirit. But when someone is super dope, but can't take correction and gets offended at every little like creative preferential difference, I don't want that person on my team. And I think more so for you, they know that they saw the skill set, but they probably saw the ability to just take that L of not getting paid yet and be like, okay, he's serious about this. He wants to be a part of the brand more so than just, you know, just doing the work. Right. Yeah. I think that's what organizations need to change up in the way when they're hiring and on staff, bring people on staff. It's like you go for this typical interview, name one of your greatest weaknesses. It's like, yo, are we on a podcast episode right now? Or are we like how do you want me to contribute to this business? And that's why I was doing this research when I was in my master's back on like how the public sector versus the private sector incentivizes work performance. And like, I know that Google and companies like Apple have a lot of capital, a lot of money to be able to do do certain incentivized things, but yo, like you can go to Google, get your car washed, get your clothes dried. You can stay on campus. You get 1 hour of free time to work on whatever you want, paid. You can even work on personal. You can go pick up your kid from school. You get all your meals there. And I'm like, okay, that's a lot. I mean, not everyone has the capacity to do that, but we need to rethink the way that we motivate performance, right?
Yeah.
Because let's be honest, we by nature are incentive driven humans, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, like, I say this to my youth. I say this to people like my youth workers and people who want to become youth workers. I'm like, they're like, what's your strategy? I'm like, pizza and volunteer hours. Like that's what kids want at that moment, right? Give them pizza and volunteer hours. Give them a basketball and a PS4, and that'll go a long way in terms of their loyalty for helping you and developing your programs, right?
Facts.
So, one of your biggest life mantras, I don't want to speak for you, but one thing I've noticed that you post on social and you're like, this is a heavy theme for you, is like, stop talking and show me your results.
Yeah.
And like, it's this idea of like moving in silence until you can actually present something tangible instead of hyping things up like you're just going to do that.
Yeah.
So like, talk a bit more about that and why you believe that.
I believe that because like when you put in the work, it's more easier for you to attract those people that you want to get hired by versus just talking and saying that you're going to be constantly doing it, but then your basket is still empty. Or like even having those same conversations with your friends, but yet you're not doing anything about it.
Yeah.
Like I'm that friend, like if you constantly tell me something and I don't see anything, I don't want to hear it, bro. Like what are you really saying right now? Like, I'm not helping you if I'm listening to you. I'm enabling you complaining. I don't want to enable your complaining.
Enabling your complaining.
I don't want to be a part of that energy. It's just like you say you're gonna do something, so do it. You feel me? So it's just like, for me, how I was able to like really get into this industry was I got my camera and then I had to put in the work. Oh, people don't know Oshane Howards does photography. So how am I going to make the world know I do photography? Well, obviously I got to shoot something.
Yeah.
So then I reached out. Someone at the time that was a friend of mine. They were teaching me some of the ropes for like a few months. I was shooting with them. I built my portfolio from there and I just put it on Instagram. Oh, Shane shoots now? I didn't know he shoots. I'm adding value to the marketplace as to why you guys should pay me your dollars.
Wow.
I don't expect you to know I'm doing photography if you don't see me doing photography.
True.
But now since I'm putting in the work, I have more of a track record to be like, yo, if I'm getting results doing this, then what are you guys really saying right now? You guys are just talking about it, but you guys are not putting in the work. Yeah. Always put in the work. Your track record talks. Because when everyone's posting on Instagram about this and that and blah, 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 where's your website at? Where's your resume at? Yeah. What have you done? Oh, you didn't do anything? Then what are you really saying right now?
Yeah, it's true. Yo, you know someone's really passionate when they're like,
I'm very passionate about it because we can talk and talk and talk. But when I ask you, like, okay, so what have you done? Yeah. You haven't done anything. Yeah. So let's start with what you should be doing.
Yeah. Is this idealism or is there actual tangible things,
like right? Let's start with a plan, man.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah, it's so true. Like recently I've been asked to be a speaker at a few different things like talks. Now I'm starting to preach more at church and stuff like that. But I post it because I'm like, let me share this side of this new season of my life. And everyone's like, yo, you're a public speaker? I'm like, yes and no. But I mean, like, it's so true. Like that's communicating a message greater than my ability to just explain that through a title or a bio piece or a LinkedIn profile or a business card, right? Like that's why, like, and it's crazy because 3 or 4 people actually reached out to me and they're like, I actually might want to have you for a panel, or I might need you to come for this.
That's awesome.
And just posted it on Instagram.
Exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong, like it still had to be good content. Yeah. But I mean, like it's crazy. Like, and I think we have one of the greatest opportunities to have like a platform. Like while it is a double-edged sword, it could be good and bad. Like, where can you get that level of free marketing to the world internationally? Like if you can do it right and you market yourself right and you learn how to like finesse that system, you could essentially like be reaching out to people in like, I don't know, Portugal or like China and getting international and local business just because of your ability to understand how to manipulate that platform, right? That's crazy. So one thing that I started asking more so this season, I'm like, if my show is called Real Community Talks, the big thing is community, right? Not just the talks. But what does community mean to you, and where do you find community for yourself? What does that look like for you?
Community means to me, like, for example, where I like in my area of Malton, like my neighbors, like they're so sweet. Like both of my neighbors are so sweet. They'll come, like they come by like probably like once every 3 months, and they'll just bring food. Or like my cousin passed away last summer, and
Sorry to hear.
it's all good, bro. But yeah, like my cousin passed away, and then my neighbors came by and brought flowers.
Wow.
Right? So it's just like that to me is like a community where everyone's coming together as brothers and sisters and is really helping out one another, regardless if we're not family members. It's the fact that we see each other almost every single day. Like we're aging as the year goes by. Like, you know, like there's something there. So that to me is like really community. And also me having the opportunity to go back to my old high school and really shoot those videos for Miss Lowe to really highlight what she's doing for the students. Like I felt I could see myself in some of those kids. It's just like, was I acting like this at their age? Was I talking like this at their age? Like you kind of see that reflection, and it's like, damn, like I didn't really look at it from that perspective. And since I went to that school and I see a little bit of me in them, it's just like, yo, you guys gotta do it this way, not that way. Or like when I was your age, I was doing this, but it didn't work out this way, so you gotta do that. So just having that opportunity to go back and just really work with Miss Lowe at Ascension of her Lord Secondary School, really helped me to like, you know, like just take a step back and not be so focused on myself, but also be focused on giving back. Even though we say sometimes we give back, are we really giving back?
It's true.
Right.
Yeah. And what are our intentions and our motives? Like to put it on a resume and to make people think we're this, you know, this person who, you know, like it cheeses me when people post YouTube videos about them going to give homeless people money. I'm like, yo, why?
You don't need to. If you really wanted to like give someone money, just give them the money and keep them moving.
But you just want the recognition, right? Yeah. But what I liked about like when you're talking about the neighbors and then even in the school and seeing yourself in the students is that community to some level, if I think we can agree, is not contingent upon what you do for me. Like you obviously, like I would want to be more motivated to do something for you because you add value to my life. But if you never did, like the neighbors, it's not like I'm like, I don't talk to my neighbors, I don't go, but like I think maybe it's just like that closeness and that association. It's like, let me just love on you as a person, right? Yeah. And I think more people need to get to that point in society where it's like you can be completely altruistic and just help people and care for people, where it's like, I don't need anything back, but I'm gonna love on you still.
Yeah.
Right? So.
And I feel like when you do things out of your heart and not expect anything back in return, you're not setting yourself up to be upset.
Yeah.
Because you already planned to just do this and just be okay with it.
Yeah.
But when you do things and you're just like, I didn't get anything out of it, that means your intentions were never pure to begin with.
So true. So true.
Why? For the sake of just saying that you did it, so people can see that you did it and get praise for it.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, like that doesn't mean anything.
Yeah. Yeah. True. So what do you do beyond your craft? I'm not saying that you have to have a complete separation and maybe your craft is your self-care, but what do you do to take care of yourself that's maybe beyond just what you do from your work and all that kind of stuff? Or what do you find, what's fun to you? What do you do just for Oshane?
To be honest, as of right now, at this current moment, not much. I feel like I've just been in this realm of like self-development, like changing my circle.
Yeah.
This, I wouldn't say seeking, but it's really being more calculated with who I'm giving my attention to.
True.
That's the space that I am like.
Yeah.
Just really kicking it more with new people, building new relationships, just really coming outside of my comfort zone, learning new things I did not care about before, but just putting myself out there just to learn it.
Yeah.
If I'm home, I'm watching YouTube videos.
Yeah.
I've really become like family oriented. Before that, I wasn't really that much of a family oriented person, but like now I take it really seriously. Like I like to spend time with my mom or my grandmother, or my cousins or whoever it is. Like I'll eliminate everything that's a distraction. Just be focused on them.
True. Yeah. And one thing I actually was gonna ask you before when we were talking about like show your results, not just like talk about it. One thing that you've talked about is like, you know, no days off and putting in that work, right? But don't you think like to some extent that can burn you out?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. That can definitely burn you out because at the end of the day, like there's 24 hours in a day. You can't get everything done within one day. I also think it's very important it's okay to be lazy sometimes.
Yes. Facts.
Like it's okay to be lazy. Like, you don't always have to be doing something, because society's like pushing this message where you constantly have to be doing something.
Yeah.
Even if you have 1 second left within your day, you gotta be doing something. It's just like, no, you don't. Like,
Yeah.
you can legit take that whole entire day, better yet, take the whole entire week and do nothing, and just sit back, relax, and just take in everything that you've done. Matter of fact, don't even take in everything you've done. Just watch a TV show.
Yeah.
Watch a movie.
Yeah.
This be in a space where you're not thinking about anything,
Yeah.
but you're just giving that time to yourself. I feel like everybody wants to always look like they're doing something for the sake of being praised that they're doing something.
Yeah.
But it's just like, where does that lead you to? It leads you to into a space where you're constantly burned out.
Yeah.
You're constantly watching what other people are doing. You're constantly questioning what you're doing. Is this, if it's what you're doing is supposed to be what you're supposed to be doing to begin with?
Yeah.
It's just like, bro, this sit back and just chill. Everything will happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah, yeah. But let me flip that another way. Is that really laziness, or is that you actually doing so much by not doing nothing? Like, you're doing so much for your life and your energy and your ability to pour out more because you're taking that moment of just chilling. And I think it's so true. Like, I think there's that quote that says, I'm butchering this, but the gist of it was, progress is not always movement.
Yeah.
It's not always elevation. And it's sometimes just being there and just, checking out a YouTube video or watching Netflix or whatever. But it's like, a phone at some point at the night has to recharge and dock so that it could be used again tomorrow. So where do we recharge? Where do we find that solitude and that point, whatever? And then it's like another thing I heard the other time. It's like, in a song the other day, it was like, a wise man once said nothing. Right. So you can apply that to this. A wise man once did nothing too, because just speaking doesn't mean you're always going to add value. Just doing it could be superficial doing. Right.
Yeah.
But how do you develop yourself as an individual? Because I think sometimes when people get into this whole craft thing and it's all about other people, what are you doing to develop yourself when you can no longer work anymore? Are you going to be okay with who you are? Are you going to be okay with how you've developed yourself as a person? Is what you do is who you are just what you do? Or is who you are, does that transcend something else? How do you build yourself? How do you personally grow? Are you reading books for yourself, not just for your craft too, right? And I think that's so important. Self-building. Right?
I feel like people get it twisted with like what they do is actually who they are. It's just like, who you are and what you do are two different things.
Wow, yeah. Like, what you do should be an extension of who you are.
Exactly.
Right?
And I feel like people need to take more time and just really figure out whether they like apples or oranges. People don't even know the simple stuff because they're so focused on like they're so focused on the grind. Like, I'm grinding, I'm doing this, talking about the highlights. But it's like there isn't much content talking about recharging. Because we're in this grinding culture. Yeah.
And people, Gary Vee, right?
Yeah.
Gary Vee, in a episode I saw recently, he says, you're not going to figure out who you are by trying to be Gary Vee. And that's like, it's that Gary Vee infatuation factor. It's like, bro, like, I want to be like him. I want to have like the Apple AirPods and be in a car, someone driving me to my meetings, and I'm talking to people and I'm live streaming. Like, you want a lifestyle, you don't want a work ethic, right? So,
exactly.
It's so true. So one thing that I always like to flesh out in the show is beyond just what you do and who you are. I like to see if there's something bigger beyond just you that you confide in or that you find solitude in. And I usually, for some people, it could be self-care. It could be their family. It could be something that's beyond just them personally. But I know for you, you're a man of faith. So what role has faith played in who you are and where you are right now?
Faith has definitely played a role in my life, just finding ground, versus just being all over the place.
Yeah.
I feel like when you find what that space is, you have something to lean back on.
Yeah.
And I lean back on God. And when I say God, like, I mean Jesus Christ, the Holy Spirit, and everything, right? 'Cause a lot of people say God, but you don't know what God they're talking about.
True.
So I got to be very specific.
Yeah.
Because some people's God is the devil. Right.
Wow.
So I gotta say who my God is, so you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Wow.
Right. So I'll just set that tone right there.
Yeah.
But that's where I find my ground. Just really getting to know the Word more. Just going to church, going to Bible study. I'm still new to this.
Yeah.
Not new in terms of I don't know who God is, but just new in terms of being a man of God.
Yeah.
Right. And just really taking that extra step to really get to know him and build a relationship with him every day. Sometimes not every day. I'm gonna keep it real, right?
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes I may or whoever, we find ourselves being so
over spiritual or performance based.
Yeah, or like we're so caught up with like work and money that we don't find the time to actually give praise to God, right?
Yeah, true.
So that's a space that I'm in right now.
Yeah.
So yeah.
One thing I like is that there's this song, it's called So Will I, and it's talking about worship. And how many songs, like you hear songs about God worship, songs that it's about I need, instead of God, you are, and this is who you are, right? And that So Will I song talks about like the rocks, even the rocks cry out in silence. I mean, rocks don't sing or anything, but rocks can even show the greatness of God. So it's like, it's not always in, you publicly being able to be like, yo, don't be those people at the Eaton Center who are like on the microphones, but it's not always like that. It's like, yo, my excellence in my work and what I do and how I love on people may never even ever say the word Jesus Christ, but how I live and treat them is going to be sometimes the more powerful way to worship God. And the word says to love your neighbor, more than you love yourself. And it's not always in like, going to church and serving and doing all that stuff. It's the way you live your life and the way that you worship God through your actions, right? There's this quote that said, or someone said, preach the gospel, use words if necessary, right? Yeah. So how can you show through your actions in your
That's
your
true,
life, right?
Because you can really live a good life based upon how you conduct yourself, and that might captivate someone and ask you like, hey Matthew, like you talk a certain way, or like the way you talk to people, and there's your energy, there's just something about you, right?
Yeah, that's different.
And that's just through your actions versus just pressing it all the time, like I'm this and da 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 da. It's just like, no, just let the lifestyle that God wants you to live, project that to people so they can see it for themselves, and let them come to you versus you constantly going to them. Yeah,
and you're setting a template of how that is, but it's like acknowledge. I like how you said, let's make it clear who I'm saying is my God, but it's also, there is that point where you need to acknowledge who you're talking about. Because I find myself doing that, and I just say the word God too, but it's like yo, like Jesus is God. Yeah. So I need to let you know that Jesus is my God.
Because sometimes like people will say amen, but they don't know who they're saying amen to.
True. Yeah.
Right.
And it's a figment of their imagination. It's bigger than that, right? Like don't limit God by just that typical painting that you see in every like Christian person's home. Like, yo, Jesus probably didn't even look like that. The man was Middle Eastern. He probably ate like hummus and pita. So I don't know. He was brown skin. Last question before we go into rapid fire. If you could go back in time, what would you tell grade 9 Oshane just about to enter the first day of high school? If you could warn him or give him a piece of advice, what would you say to yourself?
That was a good question.
Yeah, no, take your time, bro. Take your time.
Just because everything is planned doesn't mean it's gonna go according to plan.
Elaborate.
So I can plan for the year of 2019 very well. However, we can't plan for the obstacles that come with those plans that we're making. Yeah. Right? So now when those obstacles come, you gotta know how you're gonna navigate with those obstacles. Yeah. Like you can plan success, but it's kind of hard to plan the failures that are gonna come with it.
Yeah.
Right?
And maybe it's not so much planning around the failures, but planning how you're going to go through them.
Exactly.
And how you're going to react in the moment. And it's not always going to translate 100%. Like step 1, do this here, set this boundary. Boom, boom, boom. You just have to, I guess, have a heart that's willing to understand that that's a necessary part of your growth, right?
Yeah, I feel like in high school, like we all have this idea of how everything's going to occur. Once we graduate, we're going to do this. Honestly, bro, there's so many people that I've spoken to, like within their 20s, whether it's in their late 20s, mid 20s, or early 20s, like a lot of people don't know who they are. And they may have had certain plans in place, but it just never went that way, and they find themselves in a hole where they don't even know what they want anymore.
Yeah.
Right? Luckily enough, I have a family that really supports me,
Yeah.
just to keep me grounded, versus some people don't have that.
That's true.
So it's just like those people, I would definitely say, like, just because things aren't working out the way you planned it to be, it's fine. Just take that extra step to really figure out what you're going to do next, and just be patient, because everything's going to happen when it's supposed to happen.
Yeah.
But don't give up.
Yeah,
Like,
it's true.
don't.
Yeah, and it's not attaching your identity to your results or your performance, right?
Mhm.
Because we've let ourselves down so many times, but maybe there was a purpose beyond that, right?
Exactly. But that's something I don't want to tap into purpose, but it's all good.
No,
You
go.
wanna tap
Yeah,
into
let's
it?
tap into it.
All right, so like there's the purpose that society, I'm talking in a man of faith now.
Yeah.
I'm going deep. So like there's a purpose that society wants for you,
Yeah.
but there's the purpose that God wants for you.
True.
So maybe the purpose that you want for yourself is not the purpose that God wants for you, which is why certain things aren't going the way it's supposed to be going.
Yeah.
Right?
Facts. It's so true. It's so true, and that's your gauge sometimes too, right?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying opposition is the only opposition automatically equals that's not the will of God, because then the flip side of that is maybe opposition is God testing your faith in that, right? But
Exactly.
it's true. There's multi-level.
Yeah.
All right, so we reached that point in the episode where it's rapid fire. So first thing that comes to your head, you can say either or, neither, or whatever answer you want. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Pepsi or Coke?
Pepsi.
Advil or Tylenol?
Advil.
Apple or Android? This guy.
Apple. What is that? Android all day, baby.
Canon, Nikon, or Sony?
Although I have a Nikon, I'm gonna say Sony.
Yeah. Yo, I like the Sonys we want to get, yo. Jeez. If you could be any animal, what would you be?
I'd be an eagle.
An eagle. Okay.
Yeah.
Favorite place you've traveled, local or international?
New Jersey.
Favorite creative director beside yourself?
Ooh.
Well, I mean, there's lots that you have, but like the first person you think of when it's someone you really respect as a creative director. Or you can name a few. Go.
I would say Director X. I would say Joseph from Sunday School.
Yeah.
Who else would I say? I would say Tristan Barracks.
Yes.
My guy.
The man.
Yeah. Oh, and I know Ishmael doesn't classify himself as a creative director, but Ishmael Waterman.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Name a moment of time when you think about it, you automatically just cringe.
Yo.
Putting you on the spot right now.
Yo, I automatically just cringe. Oh. I hate when people sneeze on their hands.
Yo, I don't know. People don't know proper like H1N1 etiquette.
Like I'll see this, it's like, and then like those.
What are you doing with it now? Like,
Yeah.
And then it's like, favorite book you read or are reading?
Oh. To be honest, I don't read a lot of books, so for me
Appreciate
to
the honesty.
think for me to think about that right now, it's just like
Favorite song you're listening to right now?
Oh.
You had headphones in, so you listened to something.
To be honest, I don't really listen to music.
Oh, true.
But I do. I listen to Christian music, but like
Yeah.
I don't really remember the artist too tough.
Okay.
But right now I do listen to this one particular podcast. Dre All Day.
Nice.
My boy put him on. It's a dope podcast. I listen to Real Community Talks.
Yes, appreciate that, sir.
I listen to the E Project.
Yes,
those are my peoples.
appreciate that.
Yeah.
They don't have to. I mean, famous can be a subjective term, but coolest famous person you've met, or someone where you're like, whoa, this is an awesome opportunity.
Coolest famous person I've met. Meeting
It could be worked with. It could be meeting.
Director X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Like when I was I Get Fresh, he came through. He just kicking it, but like just really hearing him talk about certain things occurring in the world is just like when you meet someone in person versus how they're projected on social media, it's just like, yo, this dude is mad cool and real deep. Like he's really deep, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, cool dude.
So it's been a full day of shooting. Like you're up from like 4 a.m. You get back into the GTA at 6 p.m. Mans are marved. Where are you going to grab a meal?
I like Mr. Greek.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I like Mr. Greek. I think I'll be going to Mr. Greek.
I don't know if you've ever had these places in Malton, but Caribbean Star, Chicken and Tings, or Mr. Jerk.
Where's Caribbean Stars in Malton?
Yeah. You know, right in that plaza where Mr. Jerk is?
Yeah.
It's right beside it.
Really?
Okay, so then it's not going to be Caribbean Star.
I would say Chicken and Tings.
Okay. So how many more years do we have to wait till you finally post another selfie on IG?
Oh, I have to rate that one. I have to rate that. Yo, I have to rate that. Holy. Honestly, I don't even know, man. If people want another selfie, I'll give them a selfie right now.
Give the people what they want, bro.
This is the closest selfie they'll get right now. Yeah. The video that we're shooting.
Well, because I don't know if a lot of people know you did model and you were into the fashion industry for a bit too, right? So
yeah. That was like back in high school.
Yeah. If you had to sing one song, line for line, to save your life, you need to know it word for word. What song would that be?
Oh, the song I actually want to say, I can't say because it's certain.
It's
a particular person that's famous.
Yeah.
That's going through an altercation. So
that's
if I name drop, I might get shots fired.
I feel you.
I would say Sicko Mode.
Sicko Mode? Yeah? I like that. Who is one person or a few people that you know that everyone should go follow on Instagram right now or check them out? Someone you respect.
Jeez. One person,
yeah. Like someone who is like maybe contributing to like the Instagram community in a different way that you really respect.
That's hard. It's two people.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Say it.
All right. So Tristan Barracks
yeah.
and Ishmael Waterman. Two men that have really shaped who I am as a creative.
Yeah.
Who've really shaped who I am as a businessman. Two people I can really rely on at any given point in my life. Whether it's like something personal or business, I can just call them up and just really dive deep and just ask them for advice. Like Ishmael and Tristan are like the brothers because I'm the only child, right? So like they're literally the brothers that I've never had. So just having those two guys there, and even the fact that they're not that it really matters, but like they're two black successful creatives, right? I'm black as well, obviously, but it's just like just having someone that's black, that's really killing the game and just really giving back to the black community in any way, shape, or form that they can. Yeah. It's phenomenal. So really appreciate those two dudes.
When you hear the phrase most influential person on your life, who automatically comes to your head?
I would say my mom, my grandmother, and my dad.
I like that. If you could go back to a single point in your life just to relive that day for one day, what day would that be?
It can be any day.
Any day. One that you just like, man, it was such a good day. I want to relive that.
When me and Tristan went to New Jersey to shoot a wedding. The wedding was crazy.
Yeah.
I'll show you the video after.
Yeah, for sure.
Crazy.
If there was a movie on your life, what would you want the title to be? What would it read?
Yo.
Don't worry. I'm going to cut this so it'll go right to the answer. You take your time.
Grounded. Because a lot has happened in my life.
Yeah. Grounded.
Yeah, just grounded because I could have went in so many directions.
For sure. Yeah. On the solid rock, not the sand, right?
Yeah.
So if they couldn't get you to play you in your own movie, who would you want to play you?
Yo.
Yo, I'm asking this and I don't even know who I'd want to play me in the movie though.
Yo, damn. Will Smith.
All right.
I think that was safe though.
Yeah. Name a song that when you hear it, it puts you in your feelings, like that grade 2 feelings when, that person broke your heart in the sandbox. Like, what song makes you or like that X? For me, it's Marvin's Room by Drake.
Marvin's Room? Yo, I would say Yo. Was it Yo by Chris Brown?
Yeah. Back when the Family Channel used to actually put music videos up like that.
Yeah.
If you were stranded on an island, what 2 things would you want with you?
I would definitely want a lighter.
Mm.
Set some fire.
Yeah, yeah.
And I was gonna say water, but there's already gonna be like water on
Yeah,
the
yeah.
island. Lighter and these questions.
You gotta like, you're literally like have 5 seconds. You're in your house. You gotta grab something, a lighter and
Boxers.
boxers.
That's it.
Favorite food of all time?
I was gonna say oxtail and rice and peas, but that's playing it safe. So I am gonna say Aki and Selfish.
Aki and Selfish. Okay. What job would you be horrible at?
Coding.
Coding. Yeah.
I hated that in school.
Where do you feel most out of place?
Most out of place.
Anywhere where you have to be coding.
I feel like public speaking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that's something that you really have to keep on doing. Like I can talk in front of a crowd, but like in front of like a big crowd, it's just like
it's hard.
Yeah.
All right, last one. When you die, what would you want your biggest legacy that you leave behind to be? When people remember Oshane, what would you want them to say about you?
I would want them to say that he was a caring, giving, down to earth human being that just really wanted people to dive deep into their dreams.
Yeah.
Cause I say this all the time. There's a lot of people that are dead that could have been like the next Michael Jordan or Michael Jackson or whatever, right? But because they never took that extra step, we'll never know. Right? So I would say to them like, yo, go all the way. Regardless of your situation. Find a way, because we're all gonna die. And I feel like people step away from death. Like we're gonna die one day, everyone that's listening to this. So it's just like just really dive deep in what you want out of this one life that you were given and do everything possible. I don't care if it's in your 20s. I don't care if it's in your 30s. I don't care when it is. Just do it. Because just having my grandmother with me and just seeing her work, because she's 71, but she's just now retiring. Sometimes me and her have like deep conversations, and there are certain things that she does wish that she had the opportunity to do, but like obviously at that age you can't go back and try to do it, right? So just find that time and find every way possible to accomplish those goals and those dreams that you want to do.
For sure. All right, so you survived rapid fire. It's now guest corner, so this is your chance to shout out anything. Obviously, we're going to drop everything in the description, but anything you want to shout out, anything coming up, probably more so in June by the time this drops, or June, July, and the rest of the year. And maybe any one last thing you want to say to anyone. It's up to you. The mic is yours, sir.
Currently, right now, I'm working on a couple personal projects. I don't want to state what the personal projects are. However, they're going to be something in relation to my faith, just really pushing what I believe in, pushing the community that I'm in, and just really showcasing what we are all about. So I'm working towards that. You can find my website at OshaneHoward.com. You can find me on Instagram, Oshane Howard, Twitter, Oshane Howard, LinkedIn, Oshane Howard. I really push LinkedIn. LinkedIn is powerful.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. Any words I want to give anyone, just honestly, just keep on doing what you're doing. Hold your head up high, regardless of what people are saying about you. It doesn't matter, because when you die, they ain't coming with you. You're dying by yourself. You're going in your coffin by yourself. They ain't coming with you. So just do you. Really own in on what you're telling the people that you're gonna do, and actually do it. Just have the right people around you. Just search for not really search, but like have that mentor, someone that can guide you, because they've already gone through the obstacles that you might run into, but they can help you dodge those obstacles to help you be a better woman or a better man. And yeah, man, just one life to live. Make the best of it.
Facts. All right, so that wraps it up for our show today. But before we go, one thing I like to do is give you guys a word of encouragement, because I know you guys are grinding and working hard, but sometimes we don't slow down to hear something good about us, right? But for one, I appreciate you coming on the show today, because the level of vulnerability it takes to get in front of a camera, where I know you always want to be behind the camera.
Yeah.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you just opening up about your life, because it's sometimes for me it's easy, but not for everyone, right?
Yeah.
And even it's not even just the deep stuff. It's just like, I don't really care to share about this, but it's like, yo, so I appreciate you actually being out here. Two, just even what you said, like your unashamed association of who your God is. Like, I think that's something that is so stigmatized today. And it's like, so people don't rate that. Like, they automatically, like, I hate when people go like, oh, you're one of those Christians. And I'm like, nah, I'm one of those Jesus followers. Like, I don't associate with those people who are like trying to like go storm City Hall and like be like, we don't want the sex ed career. I don't care. Like, yo, I know who Jesus is and I'm following that. So I appreciate that about you. Two, you have I think an expertise and a wisdom that is a working wisdom. It's not just a perceived wisdom or something that's colorful words, but because you have industry experience and because you have life experience. And even in that group, like that networking group that we're in, like how you can add value, connect people. Like, you are someone who's like can be the middleman, but then also like, you know, share different sides about you too. So I think that is a powerful thing, because you're building community. You're not just a part of it. I think that's powerful. And then even just your ability to still be dope and add value to this world without having to be flashy and showing off you. Like, I think that's something that's so rare. And that's one of the reasons why I don't want to always have like something focused on me, because I feel like, man, that's not humble at all, right? But I think people can know stuff about you without having to even know exactly like everything about you. There's a vibe that you give off that I think is more powerful than you just talking. It's your results, like you said. But yeah, man, I just wanted to thank you for the person that you are, and always adding value to my life. And on the regs, I'm just messaging you, asking you things like even just that availability as a person who's busy. Like, you might not always have those seasons in your life, but the fact that you add to me in that way. And, you know, I think from the day I started, or was envisioning RCT, I reached out to Oshane, I reached out to Jodianne, and we all talked, and like these guys were giving me free advice, and like without asking for anything in return, already having an established project that they were doing together in the E project. And like, yo, you guys are looking at the man that was part of my process in developing this. So I appreciate you, man.
I
so
appreciate
much.
that, brother.
So that ends our show today. Anything that Oshane has going on is going to be dropped in the description. Check it out, follow that. But this is us signing out. Peace.